What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Blaklist Podcast. If you are tuning in with us for the very first time today, I would like to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jared Blaine. Normally, I have Brianna, Elizabeth, and Swaggy on board, but they are both out today. And today's guest is a very, very special guest because she was our very first guest over a year ago. And she's a recovery advocate, a content creator, and so much more. And ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Georgia is Jamie Tall.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Excited to represent Georgia Bulldogs, Athens in the house.
I was going to ask you too. I'm like, wait, I hope she's still in Georgia because that's what I put.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. But yeah, it's crazy because I was thinking, and you didn't even remember when I told you earlier that I was like the very first guest. So it's cool to kind of see full circle. I know things, there's been highs and lows on both ends, but it's just really crazy to see like where everybody is a year ago from this. And I guess that just goes to show you that life could throw you some crazy, crazy curveballs.
They sure can, but you can still, stand tall and keep walking through every bit of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's been going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, in Athens, just still I think at the time when I talked to you last time, I had created a massage therapy protocol for women who were in prostitution and human trafficking. And now I have actually moved to teaching massage therapists in the local massage therapy school and training them to do massage therapy on traumatized patients in local nonprofits over the state of Georgia. So that has been really awesome. Kind of like a way that I had to like multiply myself. So I was kind of like, I can't do all the massage in the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
Like I was trying really hard, but I couldn't do it all, right? So I had to train and I had to figure out a way. So I partnered with some local massage therapy schools and started teaching their students. And that was really awesome. So teaching massage therapists and training them on addiction and recovery and things that go along with that, especially about like healthy touch and traumatized patients and how to work with them and things to look for. So that was really awesome. So been doing that. Still doing, speaking out all over in the state, just different, recovery organizations, partnering with recovery organizations. I have recently joined the board of two organizations that I'm really passionate about. One of them is called Access Point of Georgia, and it is a harm reduction organization. I love this nonprofit, because they are boots on the ground. I'm talking they're in the homeless camps, they are on the streets, they're giving out clean kits, syringes, they are talking to people who are homeless, mental health, and addiction.
Yeah.
They are calling them by name. You know what I'm saying? Like creating relationship with them so that they are just not like nameless statistics, but actually valuable people. And like talking to them and saying like, hey, we care about you. We want to help you. Here's some clean syringes. Here are some, a lot of people don't agree with this, but the giving out of clean utensils, we'll call them utensils, kits, right? For like whatever your drug of choice is. We give you out the clean kits where each person has their own to cut down on the percentage of disease that is brought into the community due to drug addiction. And, of course, that saves taxpayers money. So we love that, right? But also it is saving lives. It's cutting down on HIV. It's cutting down on hepatitis. And we also do wound care and HIV care. So that has been really, really amazing working with that organization. And then I have another organization that I'm working with, which is Acceptance Recovery Centers, which is a treatment center for really a population that nobody wants to touch. And this is like a high risk population, like in prison, like people who are just, the recidivism rate is just in and out, in and out, in and out. It's like very high.
Mm.
And my friend started this organization called Acceptance Recovery Centers. And so she is helping men and women and even families. She just started a family preservation program where actual families can come and move in, because we usually have what, one man or one woman
Mm.
who is coming into a program, right? And they usually have kids, right? But they have to like travel because they're living separately. So when they are all together as a family unit, they can truly thrive in recovery while being in the boundary lines, right? Of having accountability, of counselors and classes, and all of the resources that can help them, diaper bank, food bank, whatever it is that they need.
Yeah.
And truly like learn to thrive as a family unit, which is so unique because they do not have this in really anywhere that I've seen. I don't know, Jared, do you know any places that serve actual families in recovery?
None that I personally know of. So I think that's actually really cool because, like you said, um, when it's the standard way, like they're separated. They got to be, they can't be with each other and whatnot. So, and that of course that takes a toll on your recovery as well, because now you're dealing with one trying to get clean and sober, but then you're also dealing with the fact of not having your loved one and your family member. So I think that's a really cool um way that they did that.
So we've created this program, we've gotten some housing. And so we just had a gala last month, which was really awesome. It was this amazing fundraiser. And I got to create a video for the gala and spotlight the families that were in this family preservation program. I got to interview moms, dads, kids. And the video was presented. It was in the actual Museum of Art in Georgia.
Mm.
And so it was on like the big screen, which was so cool for me, like to see this video that I created and actually be presented on like a big screen, and
Mm.
then people were just like could actually see like what happens in this family preservation program and like donate so that we could have more families to come into the program. So that was something that was really really amazing that happened this year.
Nice. Well, that's cool. That sounds like between those two organizations, you got your hands full on just that alone. Uh,
Yes.
let me ask you this, going back to Access Point, because that's the type of podcast we are. We like to talk about the controversial things, this, that, and the third. So obviously, we have our opinions on harm reduction. So what about the people out there that are saying, "Oh, well, you're contributing because you're giving them needles and this and that." For real, let's talk about it, because the question gets asked. And even though we know it, for the listeners out there that might be a little skeptical on it.
So a lot of people think that at first, I remember all the Joe Biden memes that came out that were like, "Oh, we're giving out crack pipes."
Hmm.
And people were like, "What the hell? This is what our taxpayer money is going to?" And it's like, "Okay, listen. Here's the thing. When a person on the street comes to get a utensil of whatever sort of whatever drug they use, right? They're coming in contact with a recovery coach, first of all, a person who has experienced recovery from the point that they were at, right? So, like, they were exactly in the same place that these people were, and they have experienced recovery and a complete change of life. So they are able to talk to these people, and we're not talking to these people, we're not preaching to these people, we're not saying, "Oh, you need to get clean, oh, you need to do this." We're not saying that, right? We're just saying like, "Hey, this is what I did. So nice to meet you. That my name is Jamie, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. It has been 8.5 years since I've had to use any drugs to change the way that I feel. And the way that I got to this place is by, A, B, and C, right?" And you like explain to them like your pathway, and you get to talk to them. what is your name? Tell me your story. What's going on in your life? I'd like to know about you. When can I meet with you again? When are you going to come back here? Right. So we're developing relationships. We're calling people by name. So we're calling them like we're not just saying like, oh, you're just a strung out person and we're trying to prevent disease. Here,
Yeah.
take this so
Take
you
it
don't
and
give
go.
us your disease. Right. We're saying like, hey, you matter. You are important to us. We want to have you in our community and we want to know about you because you are valuable, right? And I don't know about you, but I know when I was in my addiction, I did not feel valuable at all or worthy at all. And for someone to actually like pay attention to me and be like, how are you feeling? What's your name? You know, what would make your life better? Right? Like, what, like, let me tell you what I did to get out of your situation. I mean, to actually spend time with someone, that is priceless, right? You can throw all the dollars, you see all the people on the corners with the signs, you throw them $1. What does that do? Right? You're okay. That might be helping them get a bottle of water, get a bag, get a hotel, whatever. But when you actually spend time with someone, that is priceless. Like that is saying like I truly care about you.
Right.
I truly care about your well-being, and that is a complete game changer.
Yeah.
Not only does it change the statistics and the AIDS, HIV, hepatitis C numbers, right? And overdose numbers. So we're legit saving lives here, okay? Because we're giving out fentanyl test strips, we're giving out Narcan. Like we are literally like coming in like an army and saying like, hey, like you matter and you can change your life, like not because it's going to save the taxpayers money, but because you are valuable to our community and we care about you, and that is the life-changing difference.
Oh yeah, because think about it, like you said it earlier, in your addiction, like you never feel valued or anything, and like think of it, like why do we start using to begin with? Like we're masking all those different traumas and whatnot, and yeah, we okay. So people don't value us, so now we're gonna find our value in substances, and so to be able to meet with these people and actually get to know them on a personal level, and that would I at least for me, if somebody did that to me, like that would actually be like, wow, like these people actually care. They're not just handing me a needle and just telling me to go. And I think what
Mhm.
most people think of when they think of these harm reduction kits and utensils and stuff, people that aren't in it and people that don't understand, all they see is just, "Oh, here you go. Here's get a free needle." And then so they think that all you're doing is just contributing to them going to using, so they don't get HIV or something.
Exactly.
But in theory, it's just such a deeper reason.
It is such a deeper connection than that. And yes, of course, you know what I mean? Like, if you look at the numbers, harm reduction does save for those of us who have not experienced addiction, who are just looking like, oh, these people in addiction, they just, cost taxpayers money. Actually, harm reduction cuts down on taxpayers' money immensely. Did you know that it cost almost $1 million in taxpayer money for a hepatitis C treatment?
Really? Wow.
Yes. So if you are cutting down on that by giving people clean kits
Mhm.
and you are encouraging people, and we're not pressuring people, we're not preaching to people, we're not saying you have to get clean. We're saying, hey, whenever you're ready,
Yeah,
here I am. And they already know that we care about them. I mean, that's a win win for everybody.
absolutely. No, that is true, and as I've told you in the past, and I've shared, I was never an IV user, so I can't relate as far as when it comes to that aspect of it, but I can respect it definitely.
The following PSA is brought to you by The Phoenix. The Phoenix is not just a gym, it's a community where the real weight lifted is not just barbells, but hearts, minds, and spirits. Whether you're in recovery or simply choose to live a sober lifestyle, The Phoenix offers a range of activities from yoga to hiking, all led by people who've walked the path of transformation. So why not aim higher with The Phoenix? The first membership requirement is just 48 hours of sobriety. Rise from the ashes and soar with the Phoenix today. Do you know about naloxone, otherwise known as Narcan? This life-saving medication can reverse an opioid overdose in minutes. You might think, I don't need it, I'm not around opioids. But the truth is, you never know when you'll be in a situation where you could save a life. It's easy to use, and in many places offer it for free or at a low cost. So let's be prepared and look out for each other. Remember, you might not plan on being around opioid use, but you never know when it will be around you, and you could save the life of somebody that loves and is loved. I'm Chuck LaFlange with the Ashes to Awesome podcast, and remember, you are loved.
Well, I was cured from hepatitis C in 2018. I came into recovery in 2015 and discovered that I had hepatitis C in 2018. And there was an organization down the street. It was called Mercy Hospital. It was a free faith-based organization, and you had to go through like 8 different interviews. And I got accepted into their program, and I got a free 3-month hepatitis C treatment, which cured my hepatitis C. And I was so grateful for that. But it was literally almost $1 million to cure me from hepatitis C.
So it's $1 million per one person?
Per one person.
Holy
Per
crap.
one person.
Wow.
Yes,
Why does it cost so much?
So I was on the Harvoni treatment is what I was on. And so it was 90 days. And it's, dollar per pill. And then also because they also gave me, I got counseling, and I got, primary care doctor appointments,
Okay.
prayer. I mean, because it was faith-based, right? They offered prayer also. So there was 8 different aspects, because it was a whole body aspect.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like we're going to give you this pill and you're going to be cured. They were like, no, we're going to cure your whole body. We're going to come and deal with your whole body, your whole health. There was a dental part to it.
Okay.
I mean, there was everything. It was amazing. It was a godsend to me. It was like, you know what I mean? Like, why am I so worthy of this? You know what I'm saying? Because I did it to myself. Because let me tell you something. When I contracted hepatitis C, I know exactly when I contracted it. It was when I was living in this house. These people that were making meth. This was in Auburn, Georgia. One of the people living there was dying of hepatitis C. I was an IV drug user, and I needed a needle, and one of his needles was there, and I used it, knowing that this man was dying of hepatitis C, and I used it anyway. I legit, look, Jared, I was like, I pray the blood of Jesus over this needle. Just pray that it will be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that is the mentality when we are in addiction. You know what I mean? Like, we do whatever we can to survive, whatever we can to not be sick. Yeah. Right. When we are, in opiate addiction. That was my experience. That's all I can speak of. Yeah. And so, that is when I contracted hepatitis C. And then to get this beautiful gift, right? But if there was a place that I could have gone to that I knew about where I could have gotten clean needles, that probably wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Right? I wouldn't have been digging for needles in the garage that were dirty from a man that was dying from hepatitis C so that I would not be sick.
Wow. Yeah. And it's like you said, like knowing it, you just used it. And that, like, that was like the same, like for me with going to like snorting fentanyl, it was like, I knew that this can kill me at any moment, but I'm still going to do it. And it's the same scenario when it comes to that. And you're lucky though, because a lot of people die from hepatitis C. And so it's crazy, but I guess that $1 million is an overhead on like every aspect of what they do to take care of you. That is crazy, and I really don't think people know that. I sure as hell didn't know that. So if so they they want to start throwing out, well, cost taxpayers this and that. Well, it actually saves money. Like that's
Saves big money. What is it? 33 cents a syringe? Yeah. 33 cents?
Yeah.
compared to, right, this, I mean, and I know, like, now I feel like now the numbers have like gone down where it doesn't cost as much to go through the treatment. I don't know if it was because of where I went through treatment or whatnot, but yeah, when I went through treatment, I literally got the cost breakdown, and it was $1 million treatment, and I got it for free.
Yeah.
Which was, amazing blessing, but also that is taxpayer money. So would you rather pay 33 cents for a syringe or, you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
would you know what I mean, have to pay $1 million, or whatever, you know what I mean, for every single person that contracts this? And people's children are dying, people's parents are dying, right? It's useless death. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
When we can actually, like, just give out these syringes, and we're not just saying, like, here, take these syringes and use drugs. We're saying, like, here, please be safe, because we care about you,
Yeah.
and we don't want anything to happen to you.
Yeah. Because think about it, like, if they didn't care about the addicts on the street, like, why the hell would they offer harm reduction? They'd just be like, "Yo, go use and hope are no longer alive anymore." So that actually does go to show, like, it does go to show the people that, listen, we may be contributing, which we're not, but still, at the end of the day, this shows that we care about it. It's more than what you're doing, sitting behind a computer screen, just judging. And so, like, am I correct? Did I hear correct before, that you had told us you also are able to get, like, Narcan and everything through it as well?
Absolutely. So, I think reported this year through Access Point, just reported. Okay. So that means that when you give out a Narcan box,
Mhm.
like, if you reverse an overdose, you're supposed to call this number on the back, and you're supposed to give the number, and you're supposed to say, yes, I recorded. I'm reporting an overdose reversal. But imagine how many people actually do that and how many don't, right?
Right,
So reported overdose reversal was 50 for the year. So that's only reported. So
right.
that means this organization had reported 50 people called up and said, we reversed overdose
Mhm.
with your Narcan. That's 50 people's lives that were saved, and that is only reported.
Yeah.
Only
You can
reported.
imagine the percentage that doesn't get reported.
Right,
'Cause
exactly.
at the end
Because
of the
who's
day,
who's
who's gonna
called?
call? Exactly.
Right,
Like,
exactly. This is
who's
what I'm
gonna take
saying.
the
Who
time? "Hold
calls?
on, let me call this number really quick and let them know I saved your life." Like, they're not going to at the end of the day.
Right.
The
Nobody does that.
Yeah,
So for 50 people to have reported overdose reversal, that is incredible.
yeah,
You got to think that's probably like only like 10%, right? You got to
right.
think like 10%. That's like 5,000 lives saved.
Mhm.
Like, literally,
Yeah.
people's lives that were saved.
Yeah, because the people that are gonna call are gonna be the people and the organizations, the ones that are walking on the streets, but we know at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, if someone's using a Narcan kit on you, they're a user. They're a fellow they are, and they're not going to take the time to call. So,
They are not going to call.
no, so at the end of the day, that's still that's a lot of lives being saved.
Mhm. Absolutely. So we're really doing some really amazing work. I'm really excited, actually. So there's also another thing going on this in the state of Georgia, and that is called the Heroes Initiative. So there is actually a shortage of Narcan and fentanyl test strips being distributed among first responders. So we're talking about firefighters. We're talking about EMTs. We're talking about police that don't even know how to reverse overdose. They don't even know how to, right? So we started this Heroes Initiative, and we have raised money where we are now able to distribute free Narcan, intramuscular and nasal Narcan, and fentanyl test strips in different pharmacies all over the state of Georgia.
Wow.
So you can legit go to the pharmacy. There is a box. It is free, and you just take what you need.
And you know damn well people are gonna have their own opinion on that too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know. I hear it all the time. Oh, they should just die. They deserve it because
Yeah.
they chose to do drugs. You
You're
say
like,
that until it's your kid, until it's your child.
exactly. Yeah. And like that's a whole nother topic in itself too, is choosing, between choice and a disease and this, that, and the third, which it's crazy, but like that's like with the the me and Chuck from Ashes to Awesome, like we all collabed together. So now we do those Friday night lives, and we talk about stuff like that because it needs to be talked about. People, it does, like, because you can go 4 weeks in a row just on that subject itself. Um,
Oh, Jared, look, I have a reel out right now where I'm talking about the fact that it was somebody's comment where I had gotten sexually assaulted, and these people had they told me it was cocaine, but it was really ketamine,
mm,
and they had drugged me, right? And I had gotten sexually assaulted. And these people, I'm talking 5,000 comments, bro. 5,000 comments. And these people are like, well, you deserve it because you did drugs. You were an addict. Like, how sick are you people? Crazy. I mean, we could literally go through this for 3 weeks in a row,
yeah.
like all these comments of these
Wow.
people. And I just stopped responding because I'm just like, I can't even look at this anymore because
Hmm.
this is just like so disheartening. The way people view people in addiction, the
Hmm.
way that addiction is stigmatized, and people don't understand. I've gone through countless trainings on being a recovery coach for the state of Georgia. I have to do hours and hours of continuing education every year. I actually write continuing education for the state of Georgia. And literally, like, there is there are so many trainings about the brain science of addiction. And how, like, addiction is a disease. And can I just tell you, like, when I came into recovery as a let's talk about being a mom and addiction. All right. So I had my daughter addicted to pain pills. When I had my daughter, I was addicted to pain pills. She had to be in the NICU for 6 weeks. She had to be on phenobarbital and morphine. And I was so devastated because I could not understand why I could not stop using. Why can I not stop using? I don't understand. Even for this little girl that I wanted, like, I wanted a little girl like my whole life, right? And like, even for this little girl, like the most treasured prize, I couldn't stop using. What is wrong with me? I come into recovery, into the sober living, and I start reading the literature. And at the time, it was the NA 12-step book. And they started talking about addiction being a disease of the brain. And I was like, oh, I'm not just a pathetic piece of shit mother.
Hmm.
Like, there is something wrong in my brain
Yeah.
that doesn't connect like everybody else's,
Yeah.
right? Where when I start, I cannot stop.
Yeah.
And the argument, I feel like, will go on for eternity about, a disease or a choice. I mean, of course, when we start, it's a choice,
Yep.
but there is actually scientific evidence about the brain and the things that happen when you have the disease of addiction. The way the brain pathways are formed, the way that the brain pathways heal, the way that the brain pathways make new pathways because you are constantly doing these things, right? Using these drugs and things like that. So, but yes, we could do a whole podcast on that for sure.
So if any haters are listening, take that. Take a note.
Take a note, take that.
So so yeah, so you definitely got a lot going on with that. And then I see that you are doing a lot. So you and Sonia do lives every week, right?
Yes. Pretty much every week. We had kind of cut down a little bit. I had been going through some personal things with the dissolution of my marriage. What do you call it? Dissolvement of my marriage. And that has been very hard. So I've been kind of going to some extra support groups, and side of that to, have self-care for myself and grace for myself and making sure that I'm taking care of myself. But yeah, we try to go every week, do lives on different things that people ask about, prayer lives, especially faith-based. This last week we did a really great one on self-care and self-love and learning how to love yourself, which I feel is so important for, men and women in recovery. Absolutely. We did, I have been doing a really fun series on breakups in sobriety, how to stay sober during breakups.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have like a lot of experience in this. So I really like honed in on like my, like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to not fall off the bridge
Yeah.
during this divorce, during this breakup?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been really cool to be able to share with people. And apparently it's been very helpful.
Yeah. I kind of went through the similar thing with that. Like when I got my divorce, the number one question that people was like, "You good? Like, are you gonna stay sober?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like, this isn't gonna like knock me down, you know." But I think that people that is a very good topic for people to listen to hear on, because that is a very personal topic, and what can happen is some people are stronger than others. So I think that's good that you're speaking on that, because people do need to hear that.
Oh yes, for sure. It was not easy, you know what I mean? It took community, I will say that.
Hmm.
Like being surrounded by people who loved me and people who were like encouraging me on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just so impressed. I just want to say I was so impressed with my friends how they like swooped in and they were just like, you can do this. We got you. Like they took me on vacation.
Yeah.
I went on this vacation to Key West. I feel like I never lived before this vacation. It was
I've
like
always
the
wanted to go
most
to
fun
Key West.
it was so fun. I mean, it was so fun. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I've never lived until now. This is the
Yeah.
most fun I've ever had in my life. I was with like 8 people
Mm.
and they were just like crazy, ridiculous. It was my friend's 40th birthday. She owns a recovery home. So it was like a very safe environment. You know what I mean? And we like chartered a boat and got it Airbnb, and it was just so fun.
Yeah.
And every time I would start, had to have a meltdown, they'd be like, "Oh, look at the sunset, Jamie! Fuck that motherfucker! Look at the sunset!"
Oh, there you go. No, that's cool to have that support though. That's very no, that's cool though. That you guys are, because the growth has been insane. Like even when like with you and Sonia too. Like I mean, a year ago when I first was talking to both of you guys, but when I first Sonia only had like 12,000 followers. Like, and now she's like what, almost 400K, something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that.
And
Yeah,
then you're definitely doing the same thing, and it's really cool to be able to see the progress. Like I was before we started recording, and I was telling you a year ago, I didn't expect, like, to other people we may have low numbers, but when I saw Spotify said that we were in 6 different countries and this and that, that's big for us. To other people, that might not be big, but for us, like, because if a little platform can be heard in other countries, then you're doing something right. So it's really cool to see the growth of everybody in the creators, to see like where everyone has been from a year up.
absolutely. Yeah, we're all growing. And look, and that means that we're all sticking and staying, right? We're
Yeah,
all sticking and staying no matter what is going on in our lives. I mean, I know a lot of creators, have kind of like fallen off. Some of the bigger creators, I'm kind of like, what happened to them?
yeah,
They're just like, but like it's like the people who are like true, you know what I mean? Like we're standing up no matter what we are going through. We're standing up, and I feel like a big part of that is that we are not scared to ask for help. We
hmm,
are not scared to like come out and say like, hey, this is going on in our lives. Like I've done like a lot of um reels lately, like on like divorce and like breakup, and I'm like, hey, this is what's going on. Like I'm struggling. Like I'm gonna be honest about it. Like I'm not having like a great time right now. And And that was a couple months ago. I'm having a great time now.
Mm, there you go.
But a couple months ago, I was like really struggling, but now I'm just like, man, I literally like took the time to heal, to work on myself, to stay connected, to give myself grace, to have self-care, to be like dedicated and like be like, okay, what is gonna make Jamie better? Like,
Mhm.
how is Jamie gonna be better? And I just like focused on that. And I'm just like doing amazing, and they tell us all the time what the opposite of addiction is: connection, right? So if we can stay connected, because life happens, none of us can sit here and be the Instagram mom, like, oh yes, I'm the Instagram mom with the Cadillac and I have
Mhm.
this amazing house. This is a fake background. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can't see it on there, but Jared knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There's no piano here, bro.
It's a
You know
nice
what I'm
it's a nice
saying?
green screen, but
Yes, it's a nice green screen. I just don't want you to see my messy studio.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we are standing up every day and saying, you know what, we're not giving up. I don't care what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
We are not giving up no matter what. And if I need help, I'm gonna reach out. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed to say, like, I'm struggling and I need help. I'm not ashamed to say I feel sad as fuck that my marriage didn't work out, and I'm not ashamed to say that, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like just honesty and being able to like feel our feelings and like work through them really says a lot about the foundation of our recovery.
I think that's very important too, because you know as well as anybody else in recovery that we can't life happens, and we can't sit here and say we're going to be sober for the next 20 years. I'm sorry, even though that's a nice thought, but we cannot, nobody's guaranteed that. We but that's why every day's got to be treated like day one. And we have to learn how to deal with life on life's terms without using a substance. And so when stuff happens like that, divorce, death, just anything like that, we're trying to figure out, how can we navigate life this way? But the best thing is we can't guarantee sobriety, but we can work every single day, every single moment at it.
Absolutely. And I had been in like mental health counseling. My my marriage, it got really hard about halfway through. I was only married for two and a half years. It got really hard and about halfway through, and I had to get on like some mental health medication. I hadn't been on mental health medication in like years, since like I was in my addiction. So like, what, 8 years ago, right? And I was like, man, but if I take this mental health medication, like, does that mean that I'm like relapsing, that I'm taking a substance? And it's like, no, Jamie, it means that you're taking care of yourself, by like a doctor prescribed medication, and they put me on Buspar and Trazodone. And for like a little while, I was on Xanax too, because I was
Mm,
having like severe anxiety.
mm,
I'm not going to get into like details about what was going on in my marriage, but it was severely traumatic. It was something that I pray that nobody else has, gone through. And so for me, I was like, oh, like, I don't want to take this because like then I feel like I'm not like, because I'm supposed to be strong, right? Like like we think in recovery, like we're supposed to, have like full face reconstructive surgery with no pain pills. You know what I mean? Like, we're
yeah.
supposed to be like Superman and bear it all, but like sometimes you need a little help. You know what I mean? So I just want to like put that out there for anybody who is feeling like, oh, I feel like, like I fell short because I had to, take mental health medication, or I fell short because I had a crazy surgery that I had to take, medication for. Like, that is not, the definition of addiction is continued use despite negative consequences. So addiction is about your behavior. So don't get stuck in the stigma of and I'm not saying anything bad about 12-step meetings, but where sometimes there are certain old school groups of
Mm-hmm.
12-step meetings where they'll be like, you can only take Tylenol. If you take anything else, you are not sober. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, like everybody's recovery is different.
Yep.
And I will be the first one to say, you know what I mean? Like for a period of time, I'm still taking Buspar and Trazodone for my mental health. For a period of time, I was taking a prescription of Xanax, you know what I mean, to help me to go through this very traumatic time in my life.
Yep.
And that was what I needed at that time. And it was,
Yep.
you know, under a doctor's care, and it was the prescription of like what the doctor said. And when I had gotten through that time and like healed, then I was able to just like come off of it. You know what I mean? So don't get
caught up in the whole, you know, the names of everything. Oh, you're taking Xanax, because think about it. You know, Brianna, she says this all the time. Not everybody that uses a medication abuses it. And that's the thing. Like there's a big difference between using and abusing. So, if you're taking it as prescribed for a legit reason, you're taking the amount, you're doing everything as you should, there's nothing wrong. The minute that you start fucking up is when you start going out of those parameters, and then, well, I need an extra half because of this, or I need this. That that's where it becomes a problem. But everybody thinks, oh, because you broke a bone and you had to have surgery and you had to take a pain pill, you know, for you know, a bone, or you had to take Xanax for anxiety, that oh, you're not sober no more. And again, these old school groups, not knocking them at all, but I don't personally vibe with that, just because, like, you know, oh, no, you can't, like, and even then, well, I guess we might not, guess we don't drink coffee and we can't do, you know, this, that, and the third, because guess what, it has some stimulant in it, so it's mind altering. But
right.
that's the thing, like, not everybody that uses abuses. And that's where we're so caught up in this whole the stigma and recovery and with old schoolers and whatnot. It's just people are so, and that's the other thing. People as addicts, recovering addicts, they're so afraid to come forward and say and tell people that, hey, you know what, my doctor put me on this, or my doctor put me on that, because they're so afraid of getting, you know, shunned out of the recovery community. And that's sad, because we should be able to come open arms, like, hey, this what my doctor put me on this for this and this, like, and we should be able to do that without being condemned.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's so bad with oh my goodness, with the MAT community.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It frustrates me like to the max when they come to me like, yeah, I've been sober for 16 months, but I was on Suboxone. Like, bitch, did you put a needle in your arm?
Right.
Like,
It just
come
put something
on
up your nose, like, come on, like, I don't
Can
care
we
what you got to get on.
you?
Yeah. And that's it.
Come on now.
Well, it goes down to like, okay, so be honest. So I don't know if you've heard me say, you may know, you may not know, I take kratom. Okay, so for me, so other people, you know, Matt Keegan and different other, you know, Matt Keegan, he took kratom, and that was a relapse for him personally. He was very spoken about how that was personally for him, but it's not for me. And it's the same with, you know, with Suboxone and methadone and whatnot. At the end of the day, if I'm not going and snorting, you know, some fentanyl, and I'm on kratom, guess what? I'm gonna take kratom. And but I've had same people tell me, no, you're not sober. And you know what I say? Love you, and a middle finger. I'm sorry, but you know, because at the end of the day, my recovery does not going to work for you, and your recovery is not going to work for me. But we all have to have, that's the mutual understanding with Matt Keegan and with a couple of, we have the mutual understanding that our recovery works for us. We got to fucking quit shaming people for recovering different.
Absolutely.
I hate it.
100%. It's so frustrating. And can I give a little testimony on kratom?
Yeah.
Since you said that.
Hey, go for it.
Okay. So in June of 2022, I had a tummy tuck. Now I lost 85 pounds. Now I want to show you. Now y'all can't see, but I'm going to show Jared this tummy tuck scar. Okay. Which goes hip to hip.
Wow.
They cut me open hip to hip. took my ribs, okay, like literally, like pulled them together. It was the craziest surgery I ever had. And they gave me Percocet 5s. They gave me 70 Percocet 5s. And while I was on these Percocet 5s, because pain pills were my drug of choice, right? I had created a RAP plan, which before my surgery, which is called a Wellness Recovery Action Plan, which is through Georgia Council on Recovery, and it is a plan for if something happens, what should you do, right? So I was on these Percocet 5s, and I started having these fleeting thoughts, and I started thinking, well, maybe I should get some more Percocet 5s. Well, maybe I can order them offline. Well, maybe I can order them off the dark web, right? And it took one Google search, right, for me to say, oh shit, Jamie, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And I had a friend in Athens who owned a kava bar who sold kratom. And in my recovery action plan, I said, if I have any weird stuff come up, because my drug of choice was Roxy's, the Oxy 30s, right? Then I am going to switch to kratom. That was in my action plan. So it was accountable to other people, like people knew, like it was not a, you know what I mean, like a private thing. And I switched from pain pills to kratom. And I took kratom for 2 weeks and then came off the kratom.
Yeah.
And publicly announced, hey, I've been taking kratom instead of pain pills because I've been feeling a little weird inside. Like maybe I want to get some pain pills in an illegal way, which would be signs of the compulsion of addiction, right? So I'm gonna use kratom instead, which helped me immensely.
Yeah.
Came off the kratom just like that. And then it was like, okay, I was done. Like that was it. And some people, because I was actually working on a different board of a different treatment center that was completely abstinent based. They saw one of my reels and they kicked me off the board because I had publicly used kratom instead of relapsing on pain pills.
Jesus.
I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, number one, I was definitely not hiding this because
you were public about it.
People saw this reel about me talking about, hey, I'm switching over because I'm holding myself accountable, right? Because I'm like, hey, I went through this major surgery. They cut me hip to hip. They, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, this was a major surgery. They're like, oh, it'll be like a C-section. No, it was not like a C-section.
That scar that's a big ass scar.
Yes, it was a big ass scar, and they sewed my stomach muscles back together. So my whole abdomen up and down was separated 1 inch, and they sewed it back together like a corset. It felt like my ribs were broken. For a week. I could not breathe. I kept throwing up, and everything was like so tight. It was the most painful thing I'd ever been through my whole entire life.
Yeah.
If I didn't take those Percocets through that, look, the doctor told me, because I told the doctor, of course, I'm in recovery, blah, blah. He already knew, because he was from my area. He said, Jamie, don't try to be a hero. This is a really serious surgery. And, set up the action plan, had accountability people. I mean, I did everything right and still got shamed for using harm reduction. And instead of ordering Percocets off the dark web.
Yeah, it would have been like been like, what would you prefer me to do? Prefer me to use this natural plant that comes from Malaysia, or would you prefer me to go to the dark web and get some pills that I don't know what the fuck's in it.
Exactly.
And that's the crazy thing. And then when it comes down to like, I don't know, like if it was me and the doctor gave me 5s, I'm sorry, I would have laughed and been like, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm gonna have to take like 7 or 8 of these even to just. But then that's the addict mindset coming in, like because I don't do well with pain. I'll be honest, I'm a pussy when it comes to pain, and so it's just like that's I don't know. That's crazy that you get shamed for that just because And that's the thing, like, it's different for everybody. I've been on it 5 years. I've been on it I got on it right when I detoxed off of fentanyl, and now I will tell you this, I've been past wanting to get off. I've already because eventually I do wanna be off of it 100%. But you already know there's a withdrawal that comes with it, there's detox,
Mhm.
there's this, and I'm like, "Fuck." But then on the other hand, I'm like, if I can do a fentanyl withdrawal, then I can definitely do kratom, but it's still I'll be honest with you, like, I still get a little worried on how's my mentality gonna be when I'm off because yes, I've been off all the hard drugs and my DOC and everything, but I've been on this thing for 5 years. How's my mind gonna be? Like, am I gonna be want to use? Am I gonna want to not? I mean, and that's some legit questions that to ask.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was, like where my recovery action plan came in place. Like, okay, like if I get squirrely on these pain pills, what
Mm,
am I going to do? You know what I
right.
mean? Cuz I just knew that was my drug of choice. Oxycodone, 30 milligrams. That
Mhm.
was the love of my fucking life. Okay. So when they gave me 70 Percocet fives, you know what I mean? And I was like,
Mm,
okay, you know what I mean? And they didn't, you know what I mean? Of course, obviously didn't affect me the same way because I hadn't done any for 8 years,
right.
right?
Yeah.
But like still by 4 weeks later, it did. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like my brain was kind of like, oh, like, okay, well, what about this? You know what I mean? So yeah, we have to like prepare ourselves and we have to like keep ourselves safe and we have to know what's best for us. And every single person is different. We
Yeah.
all have one fingerprint, and our fingerprint is unique.
Yeah.
And every single person is unique. The way that they adapt to drugs is unique. The way that they come off drugs is unique.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like some people, might not have like a withdrawal to things and some people might. It just depends on the DNA and the chemistry of that
Yeah.
specific person, which is why we should never, ever, 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 ever shame
Yep.
people for having a unique pathway to recovery.
Exactly. And we'll fight for that till the day we die at the end of the day. So, yeah. No, it's cool.
Mhm.
It's been cool to catch up, because we've texted here and there, but we actually haven't like got to talk. So it's really cool. And I'm sure we can go on forever, but viewers, time limited and whatnot. Um,
Right,
uh,
absolutely.
That's cool. I'm just grateful, honestly, to be here today. I'm grateful to still be doing this podcast. I'm grateful to a year later to have you on and just to see your progress, regardless of things that have happened in your life. It's still progress, and we're just gonna keep doing the damn thing at the end of the day.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and that's all we can do.
Still here, still fighting.
Exactly. So tell the people that don't know where they can find you, where they can follow you at.
So you can follow me at Jamie Tall, Tall, at all platforms, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Please follow my YouTube. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube. That is something that I've been putting into like for this whole year. So if you could follow me, subscribe to Jamie Tall on YouTube, watch some of my videos, see what you think, leave some comments. That would be amazing.
You'll see me on there too. Yeah,
Yes.
no, definitely. We'll put the links in the description or whatnot, but yeah, go follow Jamie, show her some love. She's an amazing person and doing some really big things out in the recovery community, definitely. And um, yeah, and then we'll see how a year from now we'll look back again a year from now and do this all over again and see where we've all have grown and whatnot. So before we wrap up, Jamie, you want to say anything else?
No, I think that's it. Just basically, I just want to encourage people, whatever your pathway is, whatever you're doing, keep getting up every day, keep fighting, whatever that looks like. Just keep getting up. It's not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you get up.
Yeah. That's true. Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, and that's keep coming back. That's where that comes from. Keep coming back. And it works if you work it. And those are like the two things that I take from the programs. It works if you work it and keep coming back. However, um, remind you not that doesn't work for everybody, but keep coming back is the number one deal. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, again, thank you, Jamie, for coming on. Thanks for spending the last hour with me on here talking. And that's going to wrap up another episode of the Blacklist Podcast. Hopefully, today's conversation left you feeling some little bit inspired and uplifted. And remember, each one of us has the power to spread hope and positivity in our own unique way. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, no worries. If you've enjoyed today's episode and would like to be part of our journey, here's how you can help. Please follow us. Make sure you follow, subscribe on any of your favorite platforms. Like and comment, all the interaction. It definitely helps the algorithm and it helps us reach other people and share with your friends and family. And again, thank you so much for being part of our family. And remember this, and Jamie can attest to this, no matter what life throws your way, there's always a reason to hold on to hope. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we love you. Thank you.